transformation of sacred rage is fulfilling a divine purpose that is still hidden, right? The fullness of this is, and I'm in the process right now of recording some content about trusting the process. And when you are in a process as it relates to the mother, in her wisdom, she does not always reveal what the end result of that process will be. And I feel like the end result of this transformative period that the planet is in is still hidden. We don't quite know. We get little glimpses. We understand about the frequency of the planet raising, and we understand that the spiritual giftings of a lot of people are coming online, and people's third eye is awakening, and we're becoming just more spiritually minded and spiritually fluid, and certain religious structures are being torn down, and people are learning on their own and investigating on their own, and so on and so forth. But what we are becoming as humanity, and what we are becoming as a race of people, we quite frankly do not know. The transformation that is brought about through her sacred rage, it's fulfilling a very specific divine purpose. It's her purpose. It's her original purpose. It will always be her purpose, for the reason why she created this planet and created us. It is always her purpose at the helm of everything. And I know, we look back over the history of humanity, and we can see where things changed, and you know what I'm saying? And we can see where patriarchy came in. We can see where people's lives and the destruction that certain ones have, the extent to which they have gone to erect falsehood, right? To build a life for people that is predicated upon smoke and mirrors and illusion. They've gone through great lengths over many years to create the false matrix. Okay? And so, with that being said, the spiritually mature divine feminine understands that the purpose of the mother, even after, the tearing down of her temples and her thrones and the suppression of her oracles and her goddesses, it's still at play. You understand? It's still at play. And I could even go deeper into helping us to understand why this falsehood was or not even why it was needed, but how it is being used despite the experience of it, right? Because she is ultimate wisdom. Okay? She is ultimate wisdom, and she knows how to work her way around the foolish things that the children do. So there is a fulfillment that is taking place. Okay? This divine purpose that the mother has is beginning to spill over. Right? And when you think about the word fulfill, I wrote it down two ways. I wrote it down the correct way, and then in parentheses I wrote FULL hyphen filled, FILLED. Something has come to its fullness and it's spilling over. Okay? It's coming to its fullness, and it's I'm seeing in my mind right now. I don't have it out here, but I'm seeing the Ace of Cups in the tarot deck. And if you've ever looked at the Ace of Cups or watched tarot, then you know what I'm talking about, how the water runs over the cup, right? And so her divine purpose is spilling over. And as her divine purpose spills over, um, you know, it's almost like the concept, the metaphorical or esoterical concept of the flood. You know, when you read about Noah and the ark and how they had to get in the ark and take 2 by 2 of the animals and yada 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 yada. The esoteric understanding of that is that when the mother begins to move, you know, water symbolizing her frequency and her energy, then there's a type of flooding that happens spiritually. And so right now, though we are not, I mean, we having our little storms here and there, and people are, I mean, you know, we dealing with, you know, the weather as far as floods, but it's still esoterical, it's still metaphorical, right? Spiritually, there is a flooding happening. And when you're dealing with that level or that frequency of her water aspect, yes, things get destroyed. And the planet has to change then. You understand? So this is what we're dealing with energetically right now as it relates to what we are seeing playing out on the world stage. Okay? Because water in its destructive nature ain't nothing to play with. Right? And humans have been so long out of water that you wouldn't even know how to deal with that amount of water. It ain't no swimming through it. You know, it ain't. You know what I'm saying? And so spiritually speaking, that's good. Like spiritually speaking, we've been so long out of the element of the waters of the mother. And if you are not learning how to wade in her waters, if you're not learning how to swim with her tide, you know, if you are not learning how to experience the ebb and flow of her watery frequency, then when the flood is happening right now, it's happening. And so you see a lot of people either being physically destroyed. You see a lot of societal structures and organizations and institutions who've been abusing power being destroyed. You're seeing a lot of people who are not where they need to be as far as it's related to spiritual ethics and spiritual integrity being destroyed, because you have not learned how to honor the tide of the watery aspect of the mother. And she's flooding, she's fulfilling, she's becoming full, right? And so there's a spilling over that is naturally taking place. Okay, and so there's a washing that's happening, and what we can say and what we do know is that at the end of the washing, you know, her purpose will be revealed. Her divine purpose will be revealed. So how do we as divine feminines, where do we come in this process of transformation? Well, first we come in individually, because as above, so below. We are the reflection, the direct emanation, I say this all the time, of the mother in the earth. And so we have to know what mama is doing, and we have to move likewise. So we have to look at the things that enrage us from a sacred standpoint. And if we're angry in a not so sacred standpoint, then we have to alchemize that energy so that that anger and that frustration and that rage becomes useful in a beneficial way, right? Because many of us as women, we've gone through a lot of things in this particular lifetime. We've gone through a lot of things in our past lives that we are carrying into this life cycle. And so there's a lot to be healed. right? And so we are frustrated. We do get angry with not just a particular specific event of circumstances, but with just the way things are as it relates to the existence of womanhood and women on this planet. And the disenfranchising, the mockery, the disrespect. Okay? So we are emanating that frequency that the mother who also feels disrespected and dishonored. We are reflecting her in all things. Like I said, I think I said it in the last video, I'm not sure, might be in a video that I haven't released yet, but I said that we don't just reflect her in her nurturing aspect, in her compassionate aspect, in her sexy, sexual, sensual aspect. We don't just reflect her in her ability to manifest and birth. We reflect her when she's also pissed and feels disrespected and slighted and dishonored. So what we have the responsibility to do as divine feminists, both individually and collectively, is to learn how to be in that frequency and to destroy for the purposes of the higher self and bringing in a higher frequency. Okay, we have to learn how to move out of irrational, uncontrollable emotional rage that will cause you to run over somebody with your car. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not what we're looking for. We're not looking for that, but we're looking for a productive rage, a sacred rage that can be used to create movements of activism to further aid the mother as she is bringing about transformation. And so for some of us, that transformation needs to happen first in us individually. And you will know if this is in your spirit, if this resonates with you. You will know if I'm talking to you, where you need to deal with your anger. You need to find something productive to do with your anger that will benefit you and not destroy you in the process of you trying to, run over somebody with your car, because you're going to jail. That's all I'm saying. I mean, if you feel like you want to live the rest of your life in jail, then okay. But you have to find a way to deal with your anger in a way that further aids your higher self. And when we do that, we turn our rage and our anger into a sacred rage and a sacred anger. And we can use that as a tool to further bring about a transformation in our own lives and subsequently in the lives of other people who are looking to us, relying on us, depending on us. And we have to start there, because many of us we are just now repairing our relationship to the wisdom of the mother. And so there's a certain level of wisdom that we still have to grow into. And these conversations amongst us aids us in being able to do that. But wisdom is a lived experience. So, this is where it comes down to the specified event of circumstances surrounding your life that frustrate and anger you, and you intentionally choosing to make a choice or a decision to not overreact, to not be reactionary at all, but to use your anger more systematically, right? To apply your anger is valid. Nobody's taking away from the fact that you don't have a right to, be upset about things. upset about the way you've been treated, upset about the disloyalty of people you trusted, upset about, you know what I'm saying, going through seasons of lack or having this taken or that, whatever it is, you're heartbroken. Nobody's invalidating that you have, at least I'm not, that you have a reason to be upset. Now, what we do with that anger, it's a choice. And this is where wisdom is gained and learned when you take full control of choice. It's one thing for a person to make me angry. It's another thing for me to allow that person to cause me to react in that anger because I am yielding over to them more power than they're supposed to have. Okay, so when we look at where we come in as divine feminine women, the transformation of the things that have caused us great frustration over the years, that frustration, that anger, that rage has to be changed into a sacred rage, so that in that sacred rage we find our individual divine purpose.